So you're going to LAX. I don't envy you. I hate that airport. In fact, it might be my least favorite. But the Los Angeles airport is one of the busiest and most iconic airports in the entire country. I mean, it's in Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus. Doesn't get much more iconic than that. And as one of the busiest and largest and most overwhelming airports, it can get confusing. There are 9 terminals, ongoing traffic, complex pathways, and even tricky one-way corridors that if you don't know about can make you have to go through security twice. Moral of the story, you're gonna want a game plan. So I'm going to quickly break down how to navigate like a pro and get through security and the rest of LAX as smoothly as possible. And it will try to make it not smooth. It's like an evil villain who's trying to ruin your travel experience. I really don't like LAX. The airport is about 16 miles from downtown LA and is the 5th busiest airport in the entire world. There's only one other airport in the country that beats it. The terminal has a U-shaped layout, which will cause you some struggles that we'll talk about soon. And though it is a frustrating and stressful airport to travel through, it's also got some history to it, including the historical LAX theme building, which is recognized as the space-age landmark of one of the country's youngest and most influential cities. Like I said earlier, tons of construction. You wouldn't believe it. Every time I go, I see different construction than the construction I saw last time. And I go to this airport a lot, so I don't understand how there's always new construction. Now, it is such a big airport, it's also a hub for some pretty major airlines, so it can be difficult to avoid flying through LAX. If you're on American Airlines, Delta, United, or Alaska Airlines, LAX is a hub, so you just might find yourself with a layover there. And if so, I pity you. I fly through LAX about half a dozen times a year, often for trips to Anaheim, and pretty much anytime I fly to Asia, LAX is my layover. LAX has 9 terminals, and the terminals are called Terminal 1, Terminal 2, Terminal 3, and so on, except after Terminal 8, Terminal 9 is called the Tom Bradley International Terminal, which is not confusing at all. Just call it Terminal 9 dash the Tom Bradley International Terminal. Why have one terminal called something different when you have 9 terminals? I guess it's better than naming them all something creative. The terminals are arranged in a U shape around a central roadway loop, and that loop is where you might get dropped off or picked up depending on the service you use, because if you're Ubering, that's not happening. I'll explain. And no, you cannot easily travel between the terminals without going back through security. There are some exceptions to this, but in most cases, once you get in your terminal building, you'd have to exit security to go to a different terminal. So you want to make sure you have your terminal right, even if it's the Tom Bradley International Terminal. Who is Tom Bradley? Lawyer, mayor, politician, police officer, athlete. Well, that's pretty cool. Former mayor of Los Angeles. Lightning round terminal guide so you know what to expect depending on which terminal you're flying through. Terminal 1 is exclusively operated by Southwest Airlines. It's clean, it's modern, it's got a good food court and distinct signage. And you do have to exit security and enter again to go to any other terminals. Terminals 2 and 3 are operated by Delta Airlines. This is Delta's new hub. And if you know Delta, you know they like to do things right. So this is the nicest part of LAX. It's sleek, it's modern, it's got upgraded lounges if you have access, and it is connected airside to Tom Bradley International Terminal for any international connections. Terminal 4, operated by American Airlines, connected to Tom Bradley and Terminal 5 without going through security again. And this is where American Airlines Admirals Club is. A couple comments here. I don't like this terminal. You have to walk 87 miles to get anywhere in this terminal. And at one point, I was walking from the airport lounge to the gate, and there was literally no ceiling. I was like in a work tunnel that just had exposed wiring and pipes above my head. Now, one pro about this is that this Admirals Club does rule. I bought a day pass to get in here, which is something you can do. It's about $80 if you are flying on American Airlines and they have availability. I was spending a ton of time at the airport, so I thought that that would make sense with food and drinks and everything. I love this Admirals Club. I've been in a handful of airport lounges just from traveling with my family. They're typically really nice, but this was my favorite that I've been in. Huge floor-to-ceiling windows that looked out over the jetway. Just awesome. So if you have access to Admirals Club, it's pretty good here. Terminal 5 is a mix. American Airlines, JetBlue, Spirit. The smaller terminal, it can get very crowded and renovations are ongoing, baby. This is not a fun terminal to be in. I do not like the vibes in here. One time I landed in this terminal and there was a literal sewage break and it smelled horrific. Bad enough for me to put my shirt over my nose. Thank goodness I was arriving and not having to wait for my flight to board. It was bad. And one of the most shocking things for me was that people were sitting there in that smell, eating burgers. I guess they got used to it. That's not the only time LAX has smelled like sewage for me either. So let me know if that's an experience you guys have had. because it's part of the reason I hate this airport. Terminal 6 is Alaska Airlines, Air Canada, and a few others. Can have a more unique layout and a hallway with gates, kind of middle of the road. Terminal 7 and 8, operated by United. Terminal 7 has the United Lounge and a newer check-in area, while Terminal 8 has mostly regional flights and is accessed via Terminal 7, so there's no separate entrance. Again, middle of the road, not great. And finally, Terminal 9, just kidding, the Tom Bradley International Terminal. This is considered the crown jewel of LAX. All major international airlines operate here. It is a huge terminal with luxury shops and high-end dining. So if you fly through here, also, you might think, oh, LAX isn't that bad. And that's true. This is a good terminal. It also has multiple airline lounges and is connected airside to terminals 4 through 8. The catch is it is known for extremely long TSA lines. So make sure to arrive for any international flights 3 hours early. That is a standard to live by. It can be tempting to push your luck, but it is no fun to miss a flight. Trust me, I've done it. And it is brutal on your wallet and your time and your happiness. Arrive 3 hours early for international flights and 2 hours early for domestic flights, particularly at an international airport like LAX. You may have heard of LA traffic, and LAX is no exception to this. Traffic around LAX is notoriously bad, and it is notoriously bad for LA. So it is horrific. Make sure to allow plenty of time to get to the airport. Typically, I allow 30 minutes more than whatever my GPS says when I look it up the day before, and that usually gets me there about right 2 hours ahead of my flight. When you're getting dropped off, if you're taking a rideshare, you'll get dropped off right at your terminal. It's the upper level for departures and the lower level for arrivals, and there's a lot of signage. Now, here's one of my least favorite things about LAX. If you're like me, when you fly, you often end up in an Uber or taxi to get where you're going because you either don't want to park your car at the airport or you don't necessarily need a rental car. Well, at LAX, you cannot get picked up directly at the terminal by an Uber, Lyft, or taxi. If you're taking a rideshare or taxi service, you actually have to get yourself to LA Exit, which sounds exciting, except for the fact that it's a surface parking lot that is about a 15-minute walk from some of the terminals. The closest you can be is still about a 7 or 8 minute walk, and they do have a shuttle that is free, but it is usually packed like sardines of people trying to get to the Uber pickup. Oh, I hate it so much. I always walk. I did the shuttle one time and it was so brutally crowded that even though it saved me a couple of minutes and some energy, I figured I'd walk anyway. Only reason I would take the shuttle is if I had too many bags to be able to comfortably walk over to LAXit. It is called LA Exit. I call it LAXit because that's how it reads. And LA Exit is clever. It's like, how do you exit LAX? Sure. LAXit sounds like a laxative. It is brutal going to LAXit, and you're typically doing this when you're arriving in LA, and maybe you're excited for the days to come, whatever you have planned, but maybe you're just trying to get home. And regardless of your situation, LA Exit is just a brutal experience because you're walking through the street and like taking crosswalks with all your luggage, and you're looking at billboards, but you're like walking to go get your Uber after a long travel day. It's brutal. Some other options for getting to and from LAX are the Flyaway Bus, which is a budget-friendly nonstop shuttle service from Union Station, Hollywood, Van Nuys, and Long Beach. This is about $12.75 one way, and buses run every 30 to 60 minutes. You can also take a budget-friendly option with public transit, including the Metro C Line, Green Line. The station is nearby, but it does require a shuttle. Or what is coming soon, the People Mover project. This is an automated people mover. It is currently under construction and expected to open in 2028 for the Olympics that are being held in LA. I'm very curious to see how that goes. The Olympics, not the people mover. I'm pumped about the people mover. It will connect the terminals to the metro rail and rental cars. Speaking of rental cars, there are no rental desks at the terminals, so you have to take a shuttle. Are you tired of me saying shuttle yet? I'm getting tired of saying shuttle. I'm getting tired of thinking about the number of reasons you need to take a shuttle in LA. The free shuttles will take you off-site to car rental facilities, which include many different major companies like Hertz, Avis, Budget, Enterprise, and Sixt. Let's talk parking. There is Central Terminal Parking, or CTA, that is short-term and walkable to the terminals. There's also the economy parking lot, which is the cheapest long-term parking option that does offer a free shuttle. Something that's true of many airports if you're ever parking your car is that you can book parking online ahead of time and sometimes get a better rate. Security at LAX, like I mentioned, kind of infamous, but most terminals do offer TSA PreCheck Clear and Global Entry. I have global entry. I use TSA PreCheck at this airport, and it typically goes pretty smoothly. I used to not have TSA PreCheck. The lines were long. They weren't insane, but 20-30 minutes I think is sort of the average. But they vary dramatically. You could walk up to an empty security line, which I have seen happen pretty late at night, or you could roll up late at night, early morning, middle of the day, doesn't matter. And you could see a security line that is backed up through all the turnstiles. Something that I love to do with any airport is check the wait times while I'm on the way so that I'm not caught off guard when I walk up and see the security line. And you can do this on the My TSA app. And what was our rule, kids? 2 hours domestic flight, 3 hours international flight. Don't chance it, especially for an international flight. Losing that kind of money does not feel good. Now, our problem children for security, Tom Bradley and Terminal 1. If you're using an airline that flies into either of those, try to avoid booking your flights at peak hours if at all possible. Early in the morning and late at night can make it a little bit easier for you to get through security here, but if not, just be prepared to hunker down, wait out the LAX security lines, and hopefully it won't smell like sewage when you get inside. Now, I'll stop hating because LAX does have some of the best airport food in the entire country. Vegan, gluten-free, healthy options available at most terminals, and tons of variety. Now, one thing I will caution is that food options do tend to close up around like 9 p.m. So if you have a layover or a later flight, don't push off grabbing food if it's in the evening. There have been a couple of times where my friend Emma and I have been stuck without anything really to eat besides crappy overpriced grab and go because we just waited too long and the restaurant closed up. Now, shopping varies across the terminals. It's kind of like having 9 different airport experiences depending on which terminal you're going to. At Tom Bradley, you got those luxury shops, you got duty-free shopping, designer brands, and specialty stores featuring LA merchandise and souvenirs. Terminals 1 and 3 are gonna have more newsstands, convenience stores, and apparel shops. 4 and 5 have some boutique stops, and then throughout all of the terminals, you'll find your typical gift shops with like books, magazines, travel needs, all overpriced. Try not to buy stuff at the airport for your flight if you can help it, but I'm guilty of it. I do it all the time. I just see a book that maybe would be better than the one I have with me, or decide I need a travel pillow last minute. There are a number of airline lounges that you can find throughout the airport. Now, lounges, in most cases, you can't get in unless you have access from some sort of membership with the airline and lounge, or a credit card perk or something like that. But if you have access, these are the lounges that exist at LAX. Also, technically, in one of the Delta terminals, there's a video games lounge, which you pay to enter, and then you can go in and you sit and you play video games for 45 minutes. You can like load up your saves. I've never done it, but it's come up when I've searched LAX lounges before, and I just think that's funny. Now, there are a few amenities to make traveling a little bit easier, including free Wi-Fi throughout all the terminals, charging stations at most gates and lounges, children's play areas, notably in Terminal 4 and Tom Bradley, pet relief areas both inside and outside the terminals, a multi-faith prayer room in Tom Bradley and quiet zones elsewhere, medical clinics and pharmacies, plus family restrooms and nursing rooms. The TLDR of this video is that LAX is a beast. It is a massive airport with a lot of variety, and it's hard to know what to expect when you're going in. So hopefully this video helped you out with that. If you're still here, please like this video and drop this secret code in the comments so that I know you made it all the way. And don't forget to subscribe. We upload travel tips and more all week because we are serious about fun. And share your LAX thoughts, stories, pain points, whatever in the comments. I would love to hear them. Thanks for watching. Bye.